You just got back from a charity trip in Ethiopia.
Yeah.
What made you take such a trip?
I've been working with this organisation, International Medical Corps, for 2.5 years now, and having heard about the crisis that's going on in the Eastern Horn of Africa and realising that there is really very little media attention on it. Obviously there's tons of stuff going on in the Middle East and attention is diverted, but if in any way I could help to shine a light on this crisis, then I was willing to do that. This is just a view of the Kobe camp, one of the camps in Dorado, which is the Ethiopia-Somalia border. These are refugees and IMC workers. They've walked hundreds of miles with absolutely no resources whatsoever, hence the levels of malnutrition and sickness.
These are children and women making these dangerous journeys.
Yeah, incredibly dangerous. But as you see, they're wonderful children. They're gracious and warm and welcoming, and in spite of everything they're experiencing there. It's impossible to really grow anything on this land, as you can see. Yeah, it's incredibly hot, incredibly dry. There's no real access to water whatsoever, and they haven't had rain for 3 years. This is a result primarily of global warming, something we've all contributed to, but the effect that it's having on these people is extraordinary.
You're here with a very sick child?
Here I'm, with a very sick child. This is the child of the mother. She was incredibly malnourished and 9 months pregnant. In the state she was in, she couldn't get through childbirth. The man holding the baby is actually her husband's brother. He was so weak that when he went to stand up, someone had to take the child from him. So thank God we have this incredible man, Daniel, who was referring them to primary healthcare and giving them sources of nutrition. This is probably the most disturbing thing that I saw. This child was terribly, terribly, terribly ill. He was 3 years old, Mohammed, and this is his mother who's 23. He was one of several children, and he was incredibly sick. I went into their tent. He was being given powdered milk, and when you're this severely malnourished, that's not going to save you. So he's teaching her about plumpy nut, which is a fantastic food, nutritious food. But it's difficult. The baby didn't want it. He didn't want to eat. He wanted the milk. And this woman, she's got a lot going on. She has other children to worry about. So a lot of it is education. But it was heartbreaking because I, like everybody else, is guilty of throwing food away, and you're in this situation and you see people who have nothing and you just feel useless. But it's very encouraging being out there in spite of how sick he was, because there are people like Daniel who are saving lives. We have a 95% success rate with malnourished children, and that's very encouraging.
That's incredible.
Well, the first trip I did was to the Democratic Republic of Congo, which is obviously a high conflict area, very dangerous, and rape is being used as a method of warfare. It's horrendous and unfathomable. What's happening, I think a woman is raped every 8 minutes there. So we were primarily dealing with victims of rape. The most heartbreaking part of that was meeting women and children as young as 3 who had experienced mass rape by men, and the effect that it's having on those countries. It's not even a sexual thing, it's just a method of breaking the spirit of a nation, and it's working.
So what can people do back in America who are hearing about this, seeing this? What can we do to help?
I think, first and foremost, I can vouch wholeheartedly for an organisation that is saving lives every single day. The people that they have working for them are just incredibly devoted and dedicated and achieving hugely successful results. So people can donate. I mean, if every one of your viewers donated $5, I know there's an economic crisis and everybody's having difficulty, but $5, $1 can have a huge impact on people's lives. And if everybody did that, the work that International Medical Corps are doing, it would have an immense effect on people.